folks. Why Would You Ask That is a podcast that answers some of the weirdest questions. A lot of those are inappropriate for some listeners. If you're squeamish, easily disturbed, or just having a bad day, this may not be for you. But if you've got to know the answers like we do, stay tuned.
Why Would You Ask That? Presented by me, they, them, and
Karen, she, her, and
Remy, he, him.
And today we're talking about that awful lady who I really hate because she pisses me right the fuck off. Though her name is, it starts with an A. What is her name again, Remy?
Andrea Plunkett.
She thinks she owns Sherlock. She thinks she owns Sherlock, and she hates the gays.
That's rude.
It is rude. It is so fucking rude. I cannot fucking believe this shit.
How can you read Sherlock Holmes and not think that he's at least bisexual?
The same way people look at photos of women making out and go, oh, they're such good friends.
Mm-hmm.
So, Remy, how did she come to believe that she owned Sherlock?
Well, yes, we're back on Sherlock, because I guess we have so much to talk about here. There's so much more drama. So today, we're talking copyright for Sherlock Holmes. I mentioned in a previous Sherlock episode that in the UK and Canada, all the stories are in the public domain, but here in the US, there are a few stories that remain in copyright, and so it's under whose name that gets misunderstood, and that's how she has been able to weasel her way into this area where she is pretending to own the copyright of Sherlock Holmes. And I'll explain. In the 1950s, the copyrights were controlled by a man named Sheldon Reynolds because he got them from one of the Conan Doyle heirs. He produced the Ron Howard version of Sherlock Holmes, and Andrea Plunkett was Sheldon Reynolds' wife at the time.
Okay.
When they divorced in 1990, she fought to maintain ownership of the copyrights to those Sherlock Holmes stories that he had the copyrights to. And then, especially after he died, she was like, well, now they're mine. But they're living Conan Doyle, like grandchildren and stuff, and they were like, no, this is mine now. These come back to me. They revert to our family. They don't go to you. So she went to court about it, and the courts rejected her claims and told her she was being stupid, basically.
Damn straight, though. And she is a damn straight.
Damn straights. Ruin it for everybody.
She went to court and tried to file lawsuits about owning the copyrights of Sherlock Holmes so many times that a bunch of courts told her she wasn't even allowed to file anymore about this subject.
Oh my god.
Imagine being that annoying.
Ugh.
Yes. But when they told her no, you don't have the copyrights, no, you can't claim that, she just decided to keep operating as though she owned them anyway.
Like an asshole.
Yes.
It's very my dad works at Nintendo.
But it's like gone on and continued to this day? Like she's just pretending?
Yes, to this day, she's still living. Like she still is actively claiming that she owns the copyrights to those last Sherlock Holmes stories. So eventually, this all resulted in a lawsuit from the Conan Doyle estate, which she lost, of course. But she never did pay the damages that she owed. The court said that she needed to pay all the legal fees and everything and the damages, which was like, depending on the sources that I'm looking at, some of them say $135,000 and some of them say $185,000. And I think it just depends on like what year I'm looking at, because the money that she owes continues to pile on depending on how many lawsuits she has put in place. Because every time she loses a lawsuit, they tell her to pay the legal fees, and she never does. Because every time that she has to pay money, she says, "Oh, but I'm so poor."
Oh my god.
If only you gave me Sherlock to make the money off of.
The Doyles say, no, she's not poor. She's hiding the extent of her fortunes. And Plunkett says, no, I'm not rich anymore, because at one point she was a millionaire. But according to Plunkett, she gave up her entire fortune in the 80s after she was the mistress of somebody named Klaus von Bühlen. She gave up all of her money then because he poisoned his wife.
Oh my god.
And she decided that money was too much and she needed to be poor now.
What?
I don't think that's how it works.
I'm not following.
Okay, let's talk about Klaus, because his story is crazy.
I can't believe my cat is also named Klaus, so I can only picture him.
Klaus tried twice to kill his wife, Sunny.
Oh my god. Wait, hold on.
My cats are named Klaus, Violet, and Sunny.
Oh my god.
My cats try to kill each other and we're married?
Wow.
I can only see their faces here. Sorry. Oh my god.
Are you okay?
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. So, Klaus tried to kill his wife, Sunny, 2 times. He tried once in 1979, and then he tried again in 1980. And that was with an insulin overdose.
Oh.
Nefarious.
And frankly, he gets it from his dad. Because his dad was accused of being a Nazi collaborator.
Oh.
God damn it, Klaus. Ruining the name for everybody.
Klaus's dad was accused of being a Nazi collaborator because of his activities that he was doing during the Second World War, during the German occupation of Denmark. And then he was eventually cleared of that, but still. And so that's where he gets it from. In 1982, Klaus was arrested and tried for the attempted murders of Sunny on both those occasions, on both those consecutive years. The main medical and scientific evidence against him was that Sunny had low blood sugar, which is common for her condition, but a blood sugar test showed a super high insulin level, and a needle was used as evidence against him in the court, with the prosecution alleging that he had used it in a vial of insulin to try and kill his wife. And his mistress, not Andrea, a different mistress.
Of course.
The fuck is up with this guy?
So a different mistress, of 2 years, testified and said, quote, "He said that they had been having a long argument and talking about divorce that had gone on late into the night. She had drunk a great deal of eggnog."
Oh.
And then he said, quote, "I saw her take the Seconal," which is a sedative, quote, "and then he said that the next day when she was unconscious that he watched her, knowing that she was in a bad way all day, and watched her. And finally, when she was at the point of dying, he said that he couldn't go through with it, and he called the doctor and saved her life," quote.
Huh.
Just because you can't go through it doesn't mean it's not attempted.
Yeah. Just because you gave up halfway through, it's still...
Attempted murder is still an attempt.
An attempt was made. All right.
So Klaus was sentenced to 30 years in prison for this.
Good.
But he got off of that sentence and didn't actually have to go because he appealed it and won the appeal because Sunny's family screwed it all up.
God.
Oh, God.
Damn it.
They hired a private investigator to go and find evidence for them. And they lied to the private investigator and said that they owned the house that Sunny and Klaus were living in. And then they obviously didn't have a key to get into the house. So they broke into the house.
Oh boy.
And then while they were in the house, they wanted the private investigator to get into a closet that Klaus had been keeping locked, which previously he had never locked. And they were like, the evidence is in that closet that he's been locking. And the private investigator was like, okay, well, this is your house. Where's the key? And they were like, I don't know. just break into it.
It's your time to find out. You're the private investigator, sir.
Yeah, we hired you for this.
So they like looked around the house until they found the key, and then the private investigator was like, I'm not going to do this. So they paid him and he left. And then they just broke into the closet and found all the evidence that they used at Klaus's trial and turned it over. And Klaus was like, you can't use this evidence against me. It was they broke into my house and found it.
Damn it.
As you do. Completely normal thing.
They just let him go, so he won his appeal, and he didn't go to prison. But Andrea says that she was also his mistress, apparently, too, at this time, and she says that seeing such a horrendous act committed in the name of money left a bad taste in her mouth, so she decided to just get rid of literally all of her millions of dollars and get rid of her entire fortune, and she was just going to be poor from now on, is what she's telling the Conan Doyles. And that's why she can't pay her legal fees and also all the damages from claiming to own Sherlock Holmes.
So, since she doesn't actually own it, so it's just the constant lawsuits that's preventing people from doing anything?
Like what?
Like creating gay Sherlock content?
No, what's preventing people from doing that is that people are cowards.
Oh, what? Guys, come on. What the hell?
Anybody at any point can make a gay Sherlock Holmes if they want to, as long as they're not using any content that is contained in those 10 copyrighted stories. They can literally take anything from any other public domain Sherlock story. Like, they could take the entire first book that's in the public domain and make a movie of it and have Sherlock and Watson be gay lovers in that movie, and the Conan Doyle estate can't do anything about it. It's in the public domain. Nobody has that copyright anymore. But nobody is doing it. They're just cowards. That's why that we don't have an out gay Sherlock and Watson story yet. It has nothing to do with her copyright.
Maybe it's in the works. Maybe there's something in the works.
I would really love it if there was.
Mm-hmm.
I did link on our resource page a bunch of books for gay retellings of Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, it's lovely.
So if you like to read and if you want gay retellings of Sherlock Holmes, there's a bunch of books linked on our resource page underneath the Queer Coding Sherlock Holmes episode.
We could probably link them to this one too.
I will. I'll link the same list to this one, or I'll find another list and then there'll be 2 lists.
There will be so many gay Sherlock lists.
Hey, Sherlock. Fuck yeah.
Until they give us a movie, we will keep spreading the word Sherlock Holmes is gay.
Yep. It's just a fact.
So the Conan Doyles want her money, and she says she doesn't have any, but she still has a business that's in her name. It's a bed and breakfast called Pannonia Farms, which is also what she keeps filing her lawsuits under, is the name of that business, by the way. So many Are
you serious?
Yes, she's filing a bunch of lawsuits under Pannonia Farms. And like so many that now she can't file lawsuits under the name of Pannonia Farms anymore.
Bro. Like, come on. Pannonia Farms versus the Sir Conan Doyle estate.
They're like, how can you say that you don't have any money, but you have this business? And she's like, well, my daughter owns this business, and I'm just the babysitter, was her quote.
I'm just the babysitter. That's not how it works, bro.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
It's like, I'm just the babysitter for Apple. I don't even own an Apple product.
Here's a picture of her. Tell me she doesn't have money.
Oh my god, this woman is surrounded by money. Look at this shit. I know she didn't go, like, fucking to the fucking Goodwill for all of this shit. Or estate sales. Look at that seat. It's so fresh. Everything matches. What the hell? Her carpet matches her furniture. Wait a minute.
Another one.
Her clothes match her furniture. This woman has money, bro. Look at this shit. He knows she has money. Like, she's got like one of those paintings on the fucking wall, like, of a guy. Like a legit painting with the overlight and everything.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what's going on there. Then the Guy Ritchie Sherlock movie came out in 2009 that has Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law in it. And then Robert Downey Jr. went on Letterman and talked about he and Jude Law played Sherlock and Watson as gay for each other. And then Andrea Plunkett crawled out of the woodworks.
Ugh.
And she just threw a fucking tantrum.
She did throw a tantrum. She went on record threatening to withdraw her permission from Guy Ritchie to let him make a sequel.
I don't.
Permission she doesn't even have the power to give.
Yeah, she specifically, here's her quote, "I hope this is just an example of Mr. Downey's black sense of humor. It would be drastic, but I would withdraw permission for more films to be made if they feel that this is a theme they wish to bring out in the future, them being gay. I am not hostile to homosexuals, but I am to anyone who is not true to the spirit of the books," end quote.
Such as herself. 100%. Like, what the hell, bro?
And then Robert Downey Jr. said, "Who? Who is that? Who is that?"
Yeah. So then Warner Brothers came and was like, "Who is this woman?"
Mm-hmm. Guy Ritchie's sitting there like, what?
Yeah. Warner Brothers said neither Miss Plunkett nor the Doyle heirs paid any money for this movie's creation, and we don't actually have permission from Andrea Plunkett or from the Conan Doyle estate to make this movie.
Because they don't need it.
Yep. So, since the stories are all in the public domain in the UK and Canada, and almost all here in the US, the Conan Doyle estate doesn't need to put their official stamp on projects made over here. And even if things sometimes dip into those 10 stories, they're not always concerned about it, as long as it's not wildly insane or like super controversial to what they don't like. So they weren't concerned about the movie, so they didn't care. Also, after the third season of the BBC Sherlock series, she came out of the woodwork again and said she would be suing the BBC over their use of Sherlock.
No.
Despite the fact that every single Sherlock story is in the public domain in the UK.
Yeah.
She has no power over in the UK.
The British are like, who?
Here is her reasoning. Her reasoning was that she says that she owns the trademark for the characters of Sherlock and Watson in the UK.
What?
No.
Bro, what the hell? Since fucking when? You can't just say you own it.
Does she have the paperwork?
So according to her, over here in the US, she owns the copyright to those 10 stories, and in the UK, she owns the trademark to the entire character of Sherlock and Watson. And I guess nobody is allowed to use those characters since 2003 is when she filed a trademark application for Sherlock Holmes and John Watson, the entire character.
Wait, she just filed a trademark application and she did
it go through?
You can see it on the trademark stuff on the website. So I looked it up, and you can literally click it and you can look at every single piece of correspondence between her and the trademark office people. And it did not go through. And it didn't go through because she didn't bother to follow up on it.
Oh my god.
She can't even put in the work.
It says on there, dead application, refused/dismissed. And then underneath that, it says, abandoned because the applicant failed to respond or filed a late response to an office action.
Oh my god. That's literally my job. It's like half of my job is like, expenses removed because they failed to provide the receipts.
Just life, bro.
So she filed this trademark application and then just didn't follow up. So when you look at the paper trail for the trademark stuff, you can see like she filed it and then they sent a letter to her and then they had to send a follow-up letter because she didn't reply to it. And then they send her another one that says final notice and then she sends a letter back to that one. And then they send her like 4 more letters trying to get her to respond again. And then she finally responds again when they tell her that they're going to cancel her application.
Oh my god. You can't even put in the work to be a piece of shit. Like, just expecting it to happen just because you're like, I made the application. Of course it's going to go through. No, it's fucking not. And nobody wants you to own Sherlock, you piece of shit.
So she told the BBC that she filed the application and now she owns the trademark to the entire character of Sherlock Holmes and John Watson and that they can't use them now and she's going to sue them. And I'm sure the BBC was like, okay, you bring it on.
Sure.
Sure, buddy.
All right. Wow.
Like you do with a toddler.
Yeah. Like, Okay. Good God.
I cannot fucking believe this shit. I mean, I can, but like, this is just fucking ridiculous, man.
Like, do you have nothing better to do?
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
Her story just makes me laugh. Since Arthur Conan Doyle's death, Sherlock Holmes has been analyzed by Sigmund Freud. He was cryogenically frozen, reawoken in the 1980s in one thing. He was in Batman for a while. He fought Hitler and the Nazis in one thing. He was a mouse, you know? And she's going to make a big deal about him being gay. So in the Guy Ritchie thing, it's just really laughable.
Yeah.
But also, she's not the only one who's willing to sue people over weird, random little things about Sherlock Holmes, remakes.
No?
She's not.
Who else?
The Conan Doyle estate itself has sued for really odd reasons.
Oh, great.
Okay.
And I wanted to bring it up since we're talking about people suing people over Sherlock remakes. Now, obviously, the Conan Doyle estate has a lot more weight to throw behind their suing because they actually do own the copyright to this material.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know if you have seen it, YouTube, but I have seen it. There's a movie that came out a few years back, and it's called Mr. Holmes, and it stars Ian McKellen, Gandalf.
Mm.
He's playing an old, retired Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
It's really good. It's nice. I like the movie. It's just like a very slow period piece,
Yeah.
So if you like that kind of movie, it's very good. The Conan Doyle estate sued Miramax over this movie, claiming that Holmes' retirement could only have details found in those final 10 stories that were not yet in the public domain, and therefore they couldn't make that movie.
Mm.
Come on.
Things like that Sherlock Holmes keeps bees in that last 10 stories. He starts keeping bees.
That seems so silly. Like, Sherlock is a national symbol. I just feel like it's weird to just keep him locked up.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie itself, it doesn't derive, I don't think, anything from those 10 stories, except for the fact that there are bees in it.
Yeah, there's no plot points. It's just an homage, almost.
Yeah, I think it's a totally separate movie from the stories. They just did their own thing. But they sued because of the bees and because he was old.
Oh, that's not fair. Everybody gets old.
Everybody gets old. I can't imagine suing somebody and being like, I am suing you over this because your main character is old.
Mm-hmm. You're showing our great-great-grandfather's legacy as crippled and enfeebled. And, that's annoying. It's just annoying.
Aging violates copyrights, I guess. How dare you age a character?
I would love to see
Life experiences?
I think it would be cute to see old Sherlock Holmes and Watson shuffling along and their grandkids are what friggin' kid detectives, kind of like Enola Holmes but younger.
It's really good that you've brought up Enola Holmes because that's the second thing I wanted to talk about.
Oh, yay.
Oh no.
So it's fair enough that they wanted to sue Miramax over the retiring detective thing. Stupid, but it's fine. But they also sued over Enola Holmes.
Why?
You can't make a Sherlock-based OC! Sherlock's barely in here!
That's not even it.
What?
It's worse.
Oh no.
Enola Holmes is based on a series of novels by somebody named Nancy Springer, starring a newly created teenage sister of Sherlock. They feature plenty of elements from Sherlock Holmes, the books and the stories. Now, here is what they sued over. Their argument is basically that the depiction of Sherlock Holmes himself having emotions and respecting women violates Doyle's copyright.
What?
What? Are you fucking with me?
It doesn't. I.
They're just like, I'm sorry, but Sherlock does not drink the respect women juice.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Is it so bad? Did you... What the fuck? What the fuck? In this day and age, just let him drink respect women juice. That's for everybody, including Sherlock Holmes. Oh my god.
Maybe it's just that he was. No, it said specifically women, but I was going to be like, maybe it's just that he was respectful to anyone, because I think canonically he's kind of a douche. So
No, that's their complaint.
specifically women.
It's the women too, but also he's not enough of a douche. He's not enough of an asshole for them. So the complaint alleges that in the public domain stories, Holmes is famously, quote, aloof and unemotional, end quote. And then that changed because of his creator's life experiences. Here's the quote in its entirety from the Conan Doyle estate. Quote, after the stories that are now in the public domain and before the copyrighted stories, the Great War happened. In World War I, Conan Doyle lost his eldest son, Arthur Kingsley. 4 months later, he lost his brother. When Conan Doyle came back to Holmes in the copyrighted stories between 1923 and 1927, it was no longer enough that the Holmes character was the most brilliant, rational, and analytical mind. Holmes needed to be human. The character needed to develop human connection and empathy. Conan Doyle made the surprising artistic decision to have his most famous character, known around the world as a brain without a heart, develop into a character with a heart. Holmes became warmer. He became capable of friendship. He could express emotion. He began to respect women. End quote.
Wait, so they're saying that Conan Doyle wrote him becoming that way, right?
Yeah, they're saying that before those last 10 stories, he was a heartless asshole, basically. And that in those last stories, that was when he started being able to have friends and express his feelings and emotions and be respectful toward women, and that you can't write him having emotions or being respectful towards women or having real friendship, or you're violating copyright.
Oh my god. That is so dumb. Ugh.
You can't have character progression. You can't have character growth. Only write the mean Sherlock.
That's what they want. Only write the mean Sherlock. Here's the stupidest bit. Outside of the emotion and the women stuff, because that's so stupid. But this is just a throwaway thing that was included in the 15-page legal case that I just read. He also starts liking dogs, which the judge also described as a protected trait.
What?
So you are not allowed to write a Sherlock that is true to himself at all.
No, you're not allowed to write a Sherlock who is true to the Sherlock in the last 10 books or the last 10 stories. That Sherlock is reserved for the Conan Doyle estate. But you can write the analytical, mean, uncaring, aloof Sherlock all you want, but character growth, no, that's like you said, character growth is reserved.
And he has to hate dogs, because him liking dogs only happens in the copyrighted material.
What if he's ambivalent to dogs?
I don't think that matters. I think that as long as he doesn't like the dogs, because the judge specifically said him liking dogs is a protected character trait.
This is the stupidest garbage I've ever heard.
Yeah, the quote was something like, because I don't have it pulled up right now, I was reading it earlier, but it was like, he started liking dogs, and that contributed to him being a more rounded character.
That's weird.
This is the stupidest shit I've ever... I'm of the mind that copyrights and things should not be for anything like this. It's more like... I feel like it's supposed to protect small people who are at risk of losing actual anything, rather than protecting large corporations.
Yeah, I mean, it's complicated because, once your stuff becomes like viral, essentially. It's like, do you lose ownership of it because now everyone knows what it is?
Does it cause actual damages to your bottom line as an independent creator? That's what I think it should be judged by.
Yeah.
I don't think someone selling a Mickey Mouse knockoff coaster should really be something considered broken, like copywritten. You know, Mickey Mouse is Mickey Mouse. Everybody literally knows who Mickey Mouse is, what Mickey Mouse does.
Right. And it's not like
it's not going to do anything to, like, is Disney really going to need that $5?
Yeah, is Disney really gonna, are their sales going to plummet because you as an independent creator have crafted a really cute phone wallpaper and are like offering it for $1? Like, I don't think so. It's not gonna hurt them. So, yeah.
I have a lot of opinions about copyright as a creator, but you know.
It's like, when does it become public domain, essentially? I mean,
Yeah, an argument that you can't write your character having feelings or we're going to sue you because that's only for copyrighted stories. It seems kind of frivolous
yeah,
to me.
yeah.
Especially because I read snippets from Sherlock in our last Sherlock episode, the queer coding one, where he clearly is expressing emotion.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely on the side of like, this was a frivolous suit and these are frivolous points. Like, we should be there's so many better ways to use your time. Yeah.
It's not one of them.
Like, I think a good example of like copyright and like plagiarism is, I think we talked about it before, 50 Shades of Grey and Twilight. We've talked about it privately, maybe. But yeah, like that was a whole thing. I don't know anything about it, but I do know that it was a thing.
So, okay, in regards to the Twilight thing, it was because the writer of the 50 Shades of Grey was lifting so much from other people. Not
Oh.
it was not because it lifted so much from Twilight.
Oh.
It was hurting small other fanfic writers.
Okay.
That was this, like, taking someone else's work straight up kind of thing. Like, it's been developed and changed enough at this point, but at the time it was going through all the rounds. Yeah, there was an issue, but I don't believe there is an issue now. I don't believe it had any problems regarding the Twilight thing, because most fanfic writers know, if you're gonna do a fanfic and you want to publish it, change the names and maybe change a hair color or something.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to do that. Like, it was a modern AU with renamed characters loosely based on a thing.
Yep.
It didn't take away from the Twilight fan anything.
That's true. I guess I need to think of a good example in which something has occurred, but I can't think of any.
I could think of success stories. There's always, like, Hot Topic stealing creators' art. That happens all the time. Again, it affects small creators.
Yep.
Like, I'm only naming things that I know about right now. There was an issue with Homestuck stuff being sold, and then there was permission granted as long as it's requested. You know, it's a case by case. Same goes with Undertale, and a lot of artists get to sell underneath the thing as officially licensed because of it. Like, they all work together.
Okay.
So that's how you end up with sites that have officially licensed things, like Fangamer. That's all officially licensed with blessings from the creators. There is the one guy, someone on Twitter, the one Twitter guy who stole art for his album cover. I don't remember his name, and I don't remember much about it because I'm not on Twitter anymore.
Oh, yeah.
It was the one with the lions and shit. He just straight up took it because it was on Google, and he believed it was free.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Copyright is very complicated.
Yeah.
From what I remember from working in the publishing sector, like, I know that there was an issue where, like, was it Cassandra Clare or whatever, who writes the Shadowhunters one, got sued by another romance author because her main characters were immortal people who had tattoos, and the other ones were also immortal people who had tattoos. That's the kind of frivolous thing that I think is weird, because otherwise their plots are very different.
Yeah, they there's just certain things that you don't like. Everybody's getting the same ideas. It's the execution that matters.
Yeah.
There just comes kind of a point in copyright where you have to go like, this is stupid. This is stupid. You can't copyright feelings, Conan Doyle estate.
Mm-mm. Also, the artist was, the music artist was Travis Scott.
Oh, the one who stole shit?
Mm-hmm.
Who is the artist that he stole from? Do you know? Does your Google search answer?
Let's see. Mikhail Mahala, also known as Black Childish. He's from France, so he claims that the rapper used art that he made of the rapper as a centaur without permission.
Wow, I think this is a different case from the one I'm familiar with.
It might be. I think that it's pretty common. I know that, like, for a lot of small time music artists, this is like a really common thing. And I always find it interesting when the artist has a larger following than the music artist that commissioned them.
Yeah.
Because then the artist is like, hey guys, so just want to let you know this person is using my art illegally. And then the music account gets shut down. And you're like, oh shit. So.
That shit's always funny. Like, I actually, the other day, reported a copyright violation of another artist's work because someone was using, what was it called? Like, lifted enamel pin designs.
Damn. It's so common. Like, I mean, everybody sees those Facebook ads where it's like Tea Turtle or something like that. I think Tea Turtle's okay. There's other ones that are like, they're very obviously like fake companies that are just stealing art and pasting it onto like t-shirts or coffee mugs or bookmarks or something like that.
Yeah, and it's not just fake companies. It's full-fledged companies as well.
Oh, those two. Yeah.
The world of copyright basically bends for people with more money and power behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a trial. And What's-Her-Face obviously does not have any of that power. So, and everybody is in agreement, like, what the hell do you think you're doing? You thinking you own Sherlock? But copyright, I just hate it. Like,
sorry, we probably got really off track, Remy.
Oh no, we're talking about copyright still.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Conan Doyle estate claimed that losing copyright, that like losing this case, if they lost it, would give Holmes like multiple personalities, was their quote. The estate says that Springer and Netflix are basing Enola Holmes and their Sherlock on the personality that's still protected. So, like, between the copyrighted stories and the non-copyrighted stories, there are two different Sherlock Holmes, according to Conan Doyle, two different personalities, quote, quote. And that the one that Enola Holmes people is basing their Sherlock on is the personality, quote, that's still protected. And the new personality's key traits include, quote, relating to other people and reacting with warmth and emotion to female characters who happen to be his immediate family.
it's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, so in other words, it's just some of the most basic updates any author might make to a century-old character. The complaint includes literary analysis about what a jerk the original Holmes was, like this quote. So, quote, His closest companion, Watson, revered Holmes and was generous in his admiration, but to Holmes, Watson was utilitarian, to be employed when useful, then set aside. Holmes did not treat Watson with warmth. Holmes told him, quote, "You have a grand gift for silence, Watson. It makes you quite invaluable as a companion," quote, from The Man with the Twisted Lip. Holmes did not even congratulate Watson when Watson told Holmes he was going to marry Holmes' client, Mary Morstan, end quote. So Conan Doyle's estate is like, listen, he super treats Watson like an asshole. Why would he treat anybody else good? And they also argued that the copyright issue specifically covers Sherlock caring if Watson is injured or kidnapped, which is a huge surprise considering all the things we've been talking about on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
They sure haven't brought it up, have they?
They've never brought it up till now, till Enola Holmes. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, was just the stupidity that people are suing people over in regards to Sherlock Holmes. So to wrap it back up, people have sued people making Sherlock Holmes remakes for him even hinting at being queer in some way, him having feelings, and him respecting women, and also him being old.
People, shut the fuck up! I'm so fucking tired of this bullshit. This wastes so much time. Can we not just fucking end hunger or some shit? Instead of fucking, oh, Sherlock doesn't have emotions. We need to waste like $100,000 million on it. Bro! Go outside! Well, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But thanks everybody for listening. We are very excited to take your questions too, because we want to hear them and we want to answer them, and we are so super qualified to answer questions. So what you can do is you could visit our website, which is whywouldyouskthat.com, and go to that little contact form, throw in a question, or you can email us at whywouldyouskthatpod@gmail.com. So please send us your questions. We don't care how weird it is, how gross it is. Just don't ask any personal questions. That's our one line. Ask your weird questions. That's what we want. So thank you for listening. This is M, Karen, and Remy, and ask us some shit. Thank you. Good night.